morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter what time zone you're in right now. Welcome back to Sip&Talk. I'm Sunny. And how's everyone doing? Hey, do you know what day it is today?
Well, I mean, the calendar says it's just a normal Tuesday. But if you look at our social media algorithms, today is probably, the whole world is posting a couple selfies, and you are the only one eating takeout day.
Uh-huh, exactly. It is Valentine's Day. And look, if you are alone right now with your headphones on, maybe walking down the street, or just curled up in your room listening to us, do not swipe away just yet.
Right, please don't.
We recorded this Sip and Talk especially for you, our amazing Sip and Talkers.
Yeah, and let's clarify something right up front. We are definitely not like some high and mighty relationship experts, and we are certainly not masters teaching you how to use toxic pickup tricks on people.
Oh, not at all. We are really just two massive data nerds who absolutely love diving into the numbers, reading international trend reports, and, tearing apart social phenomena over drinks at the bar.
Cool.
So we chewed through all the recent data from places like the Pew Research Center, Bumble, Match.com, and The Economist, and we compiled this sort of modern dating guide for you all.
And what we found is honestly fascinating. The underlying logic of modern dating has just completely changed. I mean, the old model of giving a massive commitment before you even really know each other, or rushing to confess your feelings.
Yeah, that is long outdated.
Completely broken. The healthiest pace now actually starts with a really low-stakes, comfortable vibe when you first meet. Then you gradually increase the interaction, establish exclusivity, and only then, like way down the line, do you discuss long-term commitment.
Exactly. So whether you are, happily single and enjoying your freedom right now, or maybe playing hide and seek in some ambiguous situation, or just stuck in a weird romantic limbo, we really hope the data and our first-person perspectives today can give you a little inspiration.
Or at least some good company, right?
Mm-hmm.
So pour yourself a cup of coffee or grab a glass of wine, and let's talk about how modern people actually date.
Let's start with this massive hurdle that everyone seems to be hitting right now. It's this staggering gap between a person's digital vibe and their real-life reality.
Oh, man, the online to offline whiplash.
Yes. You see someone on a dating app, and they might explicitly state they are, super sex positive, or they are openly looking for short-term fun. They seem incredibly bold and direct.
Right, they talk a big game.
But then, the second you actually sit across from them at a coffee shop, they become incredibly shy, guarded, and just throw up this massive wall of boundaries. It feels like false advertising sometimes.
It really does. But the psychology driving that shift is entirely rooted in how we process risk. I mean, when you are chatting on an app, intimacy is just this abstract concept, right? It's literally just text bubbles on a glass screen.
Yeah, there's no real threat.
Exactly. Yeah. The states feel non-existent, which allows people to project their ideal, most liberated selves. But the second you are sitting 2 feet away from a living, breathing human being who is actively perceiving you, that abstract concept becomes a concrete reality.
The risk assessment in your brain completely flips.
It totally flips.
Yeah.
It's like how we talk a big game about riding the scariest roller coaster in the park while we're standing in line eating churros.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Right. We are so brave in line. But the second we are actually strapped into the seat and the bar comes down, we completely freeze up.
That is such a good analogy. And the Pew data actually highlights another massive layer to this, which sociologists call sexual image management. And this heavily, heavily impacts women in our current dating culture.
Right, because of the societal double standards that unfortunately still exist.
Exactly. A woman might genuinely be comfortable with her sexuality and she might want physical intimacy, but she is operating in a culture that will eagerly define her solely by that intimacy if she isn't careful.
The fear of being judged is just so pervasive.
It is. She is constantly balancing this desire for connection with the fear of being stigmatized. So that online to offline gap, it's a defense mechanism. She might be open online because it feels safe, but in person, she pulls back because she wants to ensure she is being evaluated as a complete human being first.
Not just a physical prospect.
Exactly.
But here is the pushback I hear all the time from guys in the tech scene. How can you accurately tell if they're just shy because they actually like you and feel the pressure, or if they're genuinely just not interested in trying to politely reject you?
That is the million-dollar question, and the data points to something called the stakes hypothesis.
Okay, break that down for us.
Basically, if I go on a date and I feel absolutely zero connection to you, I can actually be incredibly breezy, relaxed, and outgoing.
Because you don't care what I think.
Exactly. I don't care if you judge me because your opinion does not matter to my future. But if I realize oh, wow, I actually really like this person, the stakes instantly skyrocket.
You suddenly care deeply about the evaluation.
Yes. I start overthinking my jokes. I wonder if I'm talking too much. I'm monitoring my body language. So that shyness, it is actually a byproduct of value.
But from a practical standpoint, the only real empirical way to measure the difference between nervous because I like you and guarded because I don't is consistent follow-up behavior.
Absolutely.
If they are guarded at the coffee shop, but then they text you an hour later to send a link to an article you guys talked about, the caution was just anxiety.
But if they are guarded and then their text responses drop to one word every 2 days.
Yeah, that caution was just a polite exit strategy.
Which perfectly leads us into the next major issue in the data. Since caution is completely normal, how do we distinguish between healthy boundaries and just an exhausting, incompatible connection?
This is huge. We need to draw a hard line between a boundary and a barrier.
Right. Because healthy relationships fundamentally require boundaries. If someone says, hey, I'm not comfortable talking about my past trauma right now, that is a boundary.
And it gives you a clear roadmap for how to interact safely.
But a barrier is entirely different. If every single attempt you make to build intimacy requires you to break down a new psychological wall, the interaction cost is just way too high.
Oh, the interaction cost is you approach, they defend, you have to calmly explain your harmless intentions, and then approach again. It is exhausting.
It really is.
And we see this all the time in our tech hubs. We have this pervasive mindset in the Valley where we look at complex systems and we just want to fix the bugs.
The relationship engineer trap.
Exactly. You see someone who is highly defensive or avoidant, and you think, well, if I just provide enough consistency, if I just build a secure environment for them, I can patch their emotional software.
You were trying to debug a human being.
Right. But look, I am not doing IT support for your emotional walls. I'm just not.
Uh-huh. I love that. And it is so true. I can completely respect your boundaries, but I am absolutely not responsible for spending 6 months climbing your walls just to get a text back.
You don't need a partner with zero boundaries. You need someone with low-friction intimacy, where your boundary setups are naturally compatible.
So if we aren't supposed to be engineering a relationship or forcing our way over walls, what does a natural, healthy progression actually look like in our modern culture?
Well, the behavioral reports actually outline a very specific 4-stage blueprint.
Let's flip through that, because understanding these stages cures so much anxiety. Stage 1 is low-stakes exploration. This is basically microdating.
Right, the 45-minute coffee or quick walk in the park.
Exactly. High autonomy, low pressure. And a crucial element here, which some people really struggle to accept, is that stage 1 is inherently multi-track. You are both completely free to date other people.
And the data shows people get incredibly resentful about this. But you cannot demand exclusivity from someone you've spent 45 minutes with.
True, but let's add some nuance. Just because a date might be texting 5 other guys, and that is technically fine in stage 1, it doesn't excuse bad behavior.
Wait, yeah, it is fine if she has other options in the funnel. But if she is actively texting those other guys during our date, that is a blatant lack of respect for our time.
Absolutely. Having options doesn't mean you get to be rude to the person sitting right in front of you.
Exactly. So assuming basic respect is there, and you pass stage 1, you transition into stage 2, which is building familiarity.
This is where the frequency of interaction really increases. You start sharing memes, sending each other podcasts.
Like this Sip&Talk.
Exactly. Send them the Sip&Talk. You slowly start blending into each other's daily lives.
But stage 2 is where things get dangerous. Because the pivot into stage 3 is where millions of people crash and burn.
Oh, the transition to defining specialness.
Yes. Stage 3 is where the unspoken exclusivity begins. You shift from multi-track to single-track focus. You start sharing real vulnerabilities.
And only after you establish that specialness do you finally reach stage 4, long-term commitment. This is aligning future plans, living arrangements, financial views.
The biggest mistake I see in the numbers is people judging stage 1 interactions using stage 4 rules.
Oh, totally. You expect them to be perfectly loyal and planning a future with you when you literally just met for a matcha latte last week.
Right. You have to separate short-term needs, like basic consent and transparency, from long-term needs, like deep exclusivity.
But let's go back to that crash site you mentioned. Because the data shows a massive epidemic of people getting completely trapped right between stage 2 and stage 3.
Welcome to the situationship.
The defining romantic paradox of our era. For anyone lucky enough to not know what this is, a situationship is a dynamic where you are doing all the things a committed couple does.
You are going to dinner, watching movies, sleeping together.
But you never, ever define the relationship. You are just perpetually seeing where things go.
And why is this everywhere now? The numbers point to a few major drivers. First, there is this massive societal fear of commitment tied to a loss of autonomy.
People want the warmth, but they are terrified of the obligations.
Exactly. Then you add in the option overload driven by dating apps. The FOMO is just paralyzing.
Because committing feels like a risk when a statistically better match might be 3 swipes away.
Right. But the most fascinating driver is what researchers call the MVP mindset.
Ah, the minimum viable product.
Yes. It is a classic Silicon Valley concept applied directly to human romance.
Break that down, because it is brilliant, but also kind of dark.
So in tech, an MVP is when you release a product with the absolute minimum features required to keep users engaged, right? You don't spend the time and money to build the full software, you just test the market.
And daters are doing this to each other. They are investing the absolute minimum time and emotion required to get their immediate needs met.
Exactly. They keep their emotional burn rate incredibly low, and they completely avoid the full product launch of a real relationship.
Now, I do want to interject here because I think a situationship can actually be a healthy thing in very specific scenarios.
Really? You think so?
I do. Think about someone going through a massive career shift, or maybe they are actively healing from a severe trauma. A low-pressure, stripped-down dynamic might be the only kind of connection they have the bandwidth for. It can be a safe buffer.
Okay, sure, if both people explicitly agree to it. But look at the data. Over 60% of the time, this isn't some mutual healing arrangement.
Oh, yeah, the asymmetry is a problem.
It's emotional exploitation.
Yeah.
One person secretly wants commitment and is just settling for scraps, hoping it evolves, and the other person is fully aware of this and is just enjoying the free ride.
Which is brutal. It really is. So if you are listening to this right now, and you are realizing that you are the one being emotionally exploited in the situationship, how do you break out?
You need a system upgrade. And the experts have a 3-step action plan for setting that boundary.
Step 1 is a ruthless self-audit. You have to ask yourself, are you actually enjoying this freedom? Or are you just tolerating the ambiguity to please them?
Right. Are you actually chill, or are you having an anxiety attack every time they leave your apartment?
Exactly. If it is causing you anxiety, you are just pretending to be cool.
Which leads to step 2, the DTR conversation. Define the relationship.
Yes.
And in our American dating culture, directness is kindness. You do not play the waiting game. You don't drop passive-aggressive hints.
You sit them down in a calm, non-intimate setting, like a public park, not your bedroom, and you are direct. You say, hey, I need to know if this has a trajectory toward exclusivity.
And then comes step 3, which is having a strict exit strategy.
The hardest part.
It really is. Because if they give you the classic, oh, let's just go with the flow, or work is just super crazy for me right now, you have to be ready to walk away.
You have to remember, no decision is a decision. If they choose to keep things vague, they are prioritizing their convenience over your security.
They are handing you the data. You just have to believe it.
Which really brings us to the core philosophy of all these reports we looked at today. Your needs have to be transparent and your boundaries must be respected.
And the rules of the relationship should upgrade naturally with each of the 4 stages.
The ultimate goal here isn't finding someone who is perfect on paper. It is finding someone whose interaction style is naturally compatible with yours, creating that low-friction intimacy.
Absolutely.
And as we wrap up, I want to give a warm reminder to all our listeners. This show is all about independent and critical thinking. We are absolutely not criticizing anyone's lifestyle choices or relationship models today.
No, not at all.
We are just providing objective data and perspectives to help you think critically about your own life and your own boundaries.
And hey, just for the record, I know we used a lot of tech and finance metaphors today, but we didn't mention any stocks. And even if we did, we are definitely not investment experts.
Nope.
So please, do not take our dating advice as financial advice either. The SEC would not be happy with us.
Definitely not. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please urge your friends to subscribe to the Sip and Talk podcast.
And we also want to give a massive shout out to our good friend, Mickey. He is doing some amazing stuff right now, so please go subscribe to his YouTube channel, Mickey to Life. His new travel vlogs are incredible.
They are so good. All right, before we let you go, we want to leave you with one final, slightly provocative thought to chew on.
Well, I like this one.
Right. So if algorithmic AI can already predict our shopping habits, and it knows exactly what movies we want to watch before we even open the app.
It's scary accurate.
It really is. How long is it going to take until an AI can accurately predict our exact boundary compatibility with a stranger before we even go on a first date?
I mean, the tech is practically there. But the more important question is, would you actually want it to? Would you want a machine removing all the friction and discovery of human romance?
Something to think about next time you swipe. We'll see you on the next one.